Libra, this is your December 2024 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, this is your final reading for the year. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel, for all your support and investment the last 12 months. So we're going to open up with the energy of the Seven of Pentacles this month. I think one of the big themes I see for you is just around how you are adapting and navigating the uncertainty. I think in the month of December, the question to ask yourself is like, does it have to be resolved now? I think the pressure that maybe you're putting on yourself or you feel is being directed towards you to have something figured out is not really necessary. I feel if you can find a place where something is open and perhaps becomes a little bit more undefined, ready to return to when you have the capacity, and in the space and in the spirit of that, like maybe also thinking about, you know, the uncertainty is going to continue in the collective, in the world, with the polarity and the contradictory energy, and that contradiction feels very acute in December. So it can continue to distract you and to distort things and deplete you, or you can decide how you want to operate within it. And I think that means a part of you needs to relinquish control of something and find a new anchor point within yourself. I think your seven reminds you that there has been much that you have invested and devoted and given of yourself to. And it's important this month, right, that you give credit for that, that you take stock and you just have a moment to realize actually what has been achieved as a result of that. And even if it's not where you wanted it to be, even if it's fallen a little short, or if it still indeed feels really unresolved, I think there is an opportunity for you to still find some sense of a foundational point in time that just goes, okay, I'm just going to land here. You know, even if there are all of these question marks that are all over my pathways right now, what can I do in this moment to just find something that feels true and steady to anchor into? And, you know, when we move into the first part of December, we've got a Mercury retrograde underway in fire energy, Sagittarius. We're also going to welcome Mars stationing retrograde in Leo on the 6th. And I think you are looking back to try to make sense of things. And, you know, there may be some dissatisfaction, some impatience, even a little bit of a frustration. And we learn a lot about how to channel that when we're in fire retrograde energies, right? But there's also a second chance to look at something, to see it differently, perhaps to go back and pick up something that you missed first time around. And, you know, the question you also need to be asking yourself at this time is, what do I need? You know, what do I need right now to feel easier about things? What do I need right now to help me find my focus? You know, whatever the thing that you're reaching for, make sure you're just asking that right question so that you can kind of be open to receive the right answers. Now, the Nine of Swords is coming through because I think this is a season where people are spiraling out. There's increased sensitivity. There's a lot of triggers, and there could be something that you're just feeling the weight of, you know, that stress, that anxiety that kind of keeps you up at night or just gives you that restlessness in your energy. It's not always yours, right? You know, this is a time more than ever through the year where you just need to really take a step back, hand on the heart, is this energy mine? Because so much of that frenzy, you know, can be something that you learn to detach from. And this is what I'm saying about learning to operate within the conditions now that are uncertain and unwieldy and full of chaos and discord. And if we can't find a way to do that, then we're going to end up being battered around by it. It's not what I see happening. I think you're also tired. I think you're tired in so many ways, and that's okay. The fatigue is real, right? So sometimes when we're super depleted, The things that we think about or how we're affected by stuff just gets a little bit more amplified. And so again, it's just about recognizing what is it that I really need in this moment, okay? The question again. And perhaps it's just some rest, just some quiet, some peace. Now, I want to talk to you about approaching the 6th, 7th of the month. We've got Venus shifting into fellow air sign Aquarius. On the 7th, we've got Ceres, asteroid goddess, moving into Aquarius. Here, she's really nurturing, you know, it's kind of like moon, Venus-like energy. She's addressing value, right? We're talking about value here. We've got Pluto moving into Aquarius as of November. So there's just like this new cosmic conversation that's been struck up, and you're kind of trying to feel your way into what that means for you personally. Things start to become supercharged, and that can bring about a feeling of being on edge. There's your Nine of Swords again a little bit. However, what can also happen is unexpected and maybe somewhat unconventional things can come to light that can be super supportive in terms of you nurturing an increased value, or your value going up, you know, your prosperity consciousness, the material relationship that you have with regards to things changing, or some sort of illumination, idea, or inspiration that can help. So it's a positive boost around that time. Pay attention to it. There's your King of Pentacles. What it might also do, I hope, is indicate that a lot of the worrying and the stress wasn't necessary. You know, it fears that didn't realize, and in fact things turned out way better than what you'd expected or anticipated. Okay, Neptune also moves direct on the 7th, and so there's that reminder of, particularly this time of the month, right? If we look at both the light and shadow of Neptune, you know, our boundaries, the toxicity, our addictions, you know, all of these things kind of come to light, but we make a new resolve and a new promise. And you've got this earth energy kind of anchoring in that Nine of Swords, which, you know, I think is important because it kind of steadies the wobble, if you like, or where there might be that overthinking that's just kind of running away with itself. And so when Neptune moves direct, there's also a reminder and a realization of some of the sources and the places that really inspired you, and perhaps a returning to that with the ongoing retrogrades of Mercury and Mars. And, you know, maybe you needing to redefine your passion or reclaim something that perhaps got a little bit discarded or went a little bit wayward because you were distracted for one reason or another. That's a beautiful time to work through up to the 12/12 portal. And in and around that time, you know, that King of Pentacles feels symbolic. It feels like there's an opportunity for you here to command a new sense of stability for yourself, a new sense of belonging. You know, it's almost like I hear you saying, I belong here. I belong in this place, I belong in this career path, I belong in this relationship, you know, whatever it is, there's just like a kind of awakened moment. And remember, there's new downloads, activations that will come through for you at that 12/12 portal that are also going to be helpful in shattering some of the old beliefs and patterns that you have. Again, kind of obliterating that Nine of Swords. It's not a surprise to see an energy like that at this time of year. I think it's just a really complex time where we have to deal with so many contradictory feelings and emotions about so much. But when we're not depleted, we have such a increased capacity to be able to hold the stuff, don't we? So that's the reminder here that self-nurturing, self-care, it's a necessity, you know, not a nice to have, especially in December. So let's talk about the full moon in Gemini that arrives on the 15th. Mercury stations direct in Sagittarius. It's like a flood of information arrives. Ace of Swords. There we go. The breakthrough that you needed, where something was so confusing you couldn't make head nor tail of it. Now all of a sudden it's like, right, okay, well the missing piece has shown up, so now it makes sense to me, or now I'm in a position to be able to make a call on this. But it's also very divisive. You know, there's a polarizing energy, so you might feel like, oh, I'm stuck in the middle of a situation, or that you know really what you want to say and how you need to say it, but you're also very aware that that's going to create some divide. So I have that sort of, you know, that mutable energy that is amplified with the Gemini full moon and Sagittarius energy that feels in some ways you're at that moment of like, well, sort of damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Therefore, I'm just going to go ahead and do what I think is right by me anyway. Right by me in terms of expressing or claiming or deciding that this is the best and highest available path for me, or the thing that's most in alignment with the truest version of me. And I think you have to be, as much as you can in December, the truest version of you, right? For yourself, because of what you've been through. I also think that's for you something really personal about staying the course with something and what that means. So maybe you have to kind of really hold your position or fight your corner or present, an argument in a way that really supports why you're going to continue, why you want, why you're doing, and that, even as you say the words out loud, I think is deeply gratifying and satisfying for you. I think it kind of just helps to cement something in. How will it land? I think, you probably already have a view on that. I think there's, a lot of supporters and people that really have your back and get it and understand. I think you have a lot of others who don't and will make that very known to you. If you're not careful, you could take that on where you start to feel the duty or the obligation to try to keep everyone happy or to do the right thing. Well, who says it's the right thing? Whose definition is it that it's the right thing? These are the kind of questions that you need to start asking yourself, because sometimes you don't even realize that you're caught up in a pattern or a way of doing something that's just based on someone else's belief. So round and round the circle we go. I think that the Ten of Wands is also, though, along with the Seven, telling me, what it's taken to get to this point is a lot. And so there's also this unpacking, and sometimes when you've been pushing for something, and wherever you are right now, whether you've reached the conclusion, which it shows that you really pretty much are with that 10, but even if it feels not quite yet, there's still a moment in time in this month where you just got to say, okay, I just need to land here. I just need to take a breath. I need to recharge and revitalize. And I need to just be transparent right now as to kind of what's really going on. Because it may be that absolutely I want to stay the course, but in order for me to do that, I need X, Y, or Z. And there's your Ace of Swords kind of coming through in its clarity. So the full moon is packed with a lot, but I also think it will be very revelationary to being able to find the words and articulate the things that are most important for you. I think you'll find new sources of information that also help you in one way or another. Gemini can move at lightning speed. And I think with that Aquarian energy that I was talking about in the 7th as well, there's something happening mid-December that, in spite of the retrograde, feels like it kind of takes your breath away. It happens so quickly. And that's a bit of a prelude to next year, by the way. I think there's an intensity to 2025, but I think things will happen so rapidly that you're going to have to be in a position that you can make decisions very quickly. So we come into Capricorn energy on the 21st. Here it's about quality over quantity so much. And when you celebrate solstice energy, which I hope you take a moment to do, because recalibrating and coming back into alignment with the Earth's energy is so important through this season. It helps you to consider a new plan. You've got the world in your hands here, and you're looking out from a high perspective. Like, you've got the gift of being able to see, and whether that is literally intuitively, psychically, or whether you're being shown something or being given information that's going to help you to make a plan or put something into motion. And that's really powerful, particularly as we're going to welcome the new moon in Capricorn at the end of December. So, this is also about ensuring that there's not a repeat of this, okay? Sometimes we have to do what it takes. Sometimes we've got no choice. Sometimes it's part of the experience. But I definitely think moving forward, you've learnt the lessons, you've had the tests, and now there's something to say, well, I'm going to make sure that I put in the necessary supportive or the boundaries that are going to ensure that whatever I decide comes next and whatever is coming towards me, I can show up in a way that's going to be healthier for me. Now, there's a little friction energy on the 24th with Jupiter squaring Saturn. Not ideal, but it's more of what you already know. It feels like, okay, I've been here before, I've seen it all before. And if you can kind of use your experience, right, you're going to be able to sail through that beautifully. It's perhaps a little unwanted, but at the same time, it helps to show you, I suppose, where everyone's at. And that can be quite helpful if you've then got to navigate the days ahead. Okay, it also will show you where you're at with your own energy, and that might be a revelation in itself to say, actually, you know, I shouldn't maybe pack too much in, or maybe I shouldn't have an excess of anything, because I'm going to exacerbate this feeling that's already going on in me. Chiron, of course, going direct on the 29th, so wounded healer. I always think that's a really beautiful occasion to recognize as well that even where you felt like you were spinning round in circles and you've had to go over and perhaps been tested with something time and time again, you have actually grown so much with it. But remember what I also said at the start of the reading, something perhaps right now needs to remain open and undefined and ready to return to. But you're definitely in a more accepting place of what that is, and kind of just being okay with it. And I think that that makes a huge difference as to how you close out the year, right? There isn't this sort of high, but equally I feel like you're in a much more leveled place that can be very supportive of being intentional to work with that new moon and really decide, you know, what do I need to do next? Just the next step. That's all I need to focus on. What is the one next step for me? If you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we look at in the extended reading, Libra, we're going to talk for maybe 30 minutes more and look at a personal card and a relationship card for you. We'll also look at a card for the year ahead. So I hope you'll join me if it's resonating for you. Let's go ahead and clarify these cards and just see the direction that we're going to take it. So please do check out this month my solstice activation, 12/12 activation, all the sacred soul support, really helpful in this very emotive month of the year. And of course, my new journal is shipping. You can check out the sacred titles, my deck and my book, the offers that are available. Thank you for everyone who has supported and invested, pre-ordered the creation and bringing that to life. Appreciate you so much. So everything's over on romywiser.com. We have with that Ace of Swords, Knight of Swords. Wow, there's some directness there. Knight of Swords, Hanged Man, King of Cups. All the decks are listed below. Okay. Let's have a look at some oracles, Libra, for December. So this is Life Soul Vision, my own deck. What do we have to add to this cosmic conversation for you? Earth, star energy, sacred ceremony, casting out constellations, spirit stag, heavenly timing, eclipse revelations, the guide and the gift, energy conversations. Okay, and we're going to look at the Soul Call Oracle. This is by my soul friend Kelly. What are we adding to this for Libra for December? We've got the energy of quantum healing, travel through time to heal. We're going to explore that message along with everything else in the extended. I hope you can join me. Just very quickly giving you a short preview of the new journal in full colour. Just such a beautiful companion to all your existing planners and diaries. You're just going to hold so much of your own spiritual tools and the journey and the awareness and insights that really are going to help support you time and time again moving forward. It's a lifelong companion. I hope you'll check it out. Thank you for being here. I hope that you have a peaceful holiday season and that you can really stop and recognize the accomplishments and celebrate how much you've been able to navigate through all of the challenges that this year has presented to you. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you again in 2025. You take good care. Bright blessings.